How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and this is another...
Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
Yes, this is Lost Heroes of the Golden Age, and I've worked on the background a little bit. This whole thing wasn't originally planned, so this whole thing has just been me slowly changing the things in the background to match a little more of my little slice of Nerdvana. The changes are coming in slowly, but I think I'll get to the point where I'm really comfortable with what I got back here. But I am back, and we have another hero. This is a one-and-done hero from Lev Gleason.
Wait, we agreed on a different hero.
You're not wrong, but you're also not right.
What do you mean that I'm not right?
We did agree on the other hero, but this one I found kind of last minute, and it's a one-and-done backup featured story, and you can't get more obscure than this. And you know how I love doing obscure heroes, and if we don't cover them when I find out about them, we might never cover them at all.
The premise for this is ludicrous.
It's a ridiculous story, yeah, but interestingly enough that I just want to go over ahead and cover this one. We'll do the other guy next week. We're doing a story out of the first issue of Silver Streak Comics, which wasn't actually published by Lev Gleason to begin with, even though they would eventually take over the publication of Silver Streak. I do explain a little bit about that in the opening. It's definitely something I would like to go into in the future. But like I said, this is a one-and-done hero of a backup feature of an original it was a backup feature of the first issue of a comic book that wasn't published by the company who is known to be the publisher of this publication. It's a mouthful, yeah. But let's go ahead. We're going to cover Spirit Man. If you've never heard of him before, well, you're in luck, because we're covering him now. So let's get into this one for Lost Heroes of the Golden Age. Spirit Man. Spirit Man, real name, Spirit Malcolm, first appeared in Silver Streak Comics #1 in 1939. Original publisher is Lev Gleason, created by Unknown. Now, even though this isn't much of a lead, and I did want to cover this, Lev Gleason was actually not the original publisher of Silver Streak Comics. They were originally published by Arthur Bernhardt's Rhoda Publications. Now, the way they came up with the title was because Bernard's car was a Pontiac Silver Streak. Nice car for 1939. Now, Lev Gleason would take over after issue 3, and then that's when they would release the titular hero for the comic book title, Silver Streak. Now, that's actually kind of interesting because the hero is named after the comic book title. That's not usually the case. Usually the hero appears first and gets a self-titled comic, or the hero appears at the same time as the comic book does, but they don't come after the publication has already been into effect and named after it. So that's what I actually kind of find interesting about that. So they would release Silver Streak by issue number 3, which is a hero I'd actually like to cover one day. There's not too much to go into about Spirit Man. He is a technological based hero, and we're going to go ahead and cover his first appearance. He is obscure. I almost completely missed him. I was going through some comic books, typing in some certain things, and I accidentally stumbled on him. He is the very last story of the very first comic book. He is the backup feature. He does not appear on the cover either. So it's actually a long shot that I even found him. I haven't really gone through the pages of Silver Streak to look for a whole bunch of heroes other than when I was reviewing the Claw. So it is actually kind of interesting that I stumbled upon him, because I almost completely missed him. But since he is so obscure with his one appearance, I figured, hey, he's a great person to cover. So that's one of the reasons he shot up to the top of my list, is because I just discovered him, and he's so obscure that if I didn't cover him now, I might miss him in the future, because this one-shot hero is not something I'm going to remember real easily. Even if I wrote it down, I'd be like, who the heck is Spirit Man? But I did get him this time. We are covering him, so let's go ahead and cover his first, last, and only appearance. Spirit Malcolm, better known as Spirit Man, and his loyal friend, Ray Williams, who fights all criminals, are tuning in the Futurescope, a machine that projects on the screen any action that is going on at any part of the Earth. And Spirit Man, like a true spirit, arrives unseen wherever he wills it. Suddenly, one day, the Futurescope reveals a startling scene. Now, I think I am pronouncing this right for Futurescope. There should be an E, I would think. F-U-T, Future Scope. But it doesn't see into the future. There's no time-traveling element in the story at all. And it's showing them the things that are happening as they are happening, not the future. Now when we go down a little bit more, it says a little more on the space controls. How's the time control? The time controls are okay, but I have corrected it for longitude. You're not seeing in the past. You didn't say that you're in the future coming back to the past. You're talking about existing. You see, suddenly it shows you things are going on right then in the Earth, but you keep referring to time, but there is no time traveling element in the story anywhere. Because if this were you just looking into the past, you would say that you're staring off into the past and you're going to go stop criminals. But you're not. You're seeing what's going on right now. The fact that it's a Futurescope and time controls doesn't make any sense, because you're not peering into the past. Now, I'm going to go with the suspension of disbelief and believe that your scope, as inexplicable as it can be, can see whatever is going on in the Earth wherever, because this is definitely underground, and I'm just going to go ahead with the benefit of the doubt and say that you can see the underground thing, but you're not doing time travel, but you keep mentioning things like Futurescope and time controls. We are near the main tunnel. Have them pass in the electric conductors. Just a few more minutes and we're through. And you see these two guys crawling through a hole, and this whole tunnel system built out at the bottom. I didn't see the point of that very last panel there with showing the entire tunnel, but I guess it just gives you an idea. All set, let's go. I got it. Quick, Fritz, grab the seat. What the? Quick, we have to work fast before we're discovered. And I guess Fritz sits on the seat, and I don't think we get the name of the other one. He grabs the guard's gun and beats him up with it. Well, she tests all right, except for the direction locator. Didn't it seem funny to you? They look like coal miners tunneling through the bootleg coal, yet there's something strange. Tune them in again, quick. If I'm right, those men are not miners, they're criminals breaking into the U.S. Gold Depository Vault. How did you know that? I mean, if you knew that these guys were just trying to break... I mean, you don't explain to us how you know where under the ground they are. I mean, maybe it's because you say, tune them in again. Let's see, the direction locator. Let's see. Well, you even say that everything is working except for the direction locator, so there's no real way that you know where they are. You're just looking underground, and automatically you think that they're breaking into a depository. Anyways, Right, it's a lucky thing I didn't disturb the dial settings. Now watch. But indeed, these guys are breaking into a bake vault. I found this kind of weird. This state, or we got to work fast before we're discovered. Be careful with those wires. If one were broken, the alarm would go off and electrocute us. Is that a little overkill for security? You're going to sound an alarm and fry them to a crisp? Okay, so they start to load up the, looks like gold from what I can tell. Quick, Ray, set the big Misodine going. It's already started. I have no idea what a Misodine is. But, I mean, he apparently gets these rays put on him. The Spirit Man descends near the loaded truck. I guess they would have to be in the sky if he would descend. Unseen to the crew, Spirit Man watches. All set. Now let's pull away. We'll go inside and store the gold in the mouth of the tunnel so we won't have trouble with the next loading. I'll be glad when this is over and done with. It gives me the creeps. So as the guys go into the tunnel, Spirit Man uses his powerful, Rayodyne gun. You guys using the word dyne. Okay, so he seals off the tunnel and then these guys are trapped. The entrance is blocked. We're trapped like rats. What do we do now? If the high-tension electrical system doesn't get us, the guards will nab us when we go out. No, you're not going to have to worry about that, because Spirit Man walks over to where these guys beat the guard and got the seat. So, let's see. He retreats to the intruder, makes quick work to the guys on the seat, and brings up the chair that the guy was sitting on, and immediately the crew dies like burning rats. So the 4 people that he just trapped inside the cave, he killed them. He just straight up murdered them. He could have captured them. He could have kept it so that the cops could have arrested these guys later. He just straight up killed them. With lightning speed, the Spirit Man returns to the laboratory. There's no time to lose. Scan the space dimension and locate the place where the truck load of gold is going. Locate the space dimension. Scan the space dimension. How about just follow the truck and tell me where it went? Okay, we see that the truck is loading all of this gold into a plane. And it's pretty well thought out. Speed it up. The next truck will be along any minute now with another load. Can't carry any more. The rest will have to wait for next trip. So he says, okay, tell the captain that there'll be one more plane load and we'll have all the gold that there was there. It'll take longer this trip. The captain moved the hinterland farther out to sea as not to arouse suspicion and enable us for a better getaway. You guys are giving out a whole lot of exposition. Contact the Coast Guard, Ray. I'll tell them to stand by. So the Spirit gets into the truck and, hey, look, he's the voice. You can't see him, but you can hear him. Pull over. Where did you come from? You gave me a lift a ways back down the road. I did not. Who are you? So, apparently he is making himself visible and invisible at the same time. I guess the rays allows him to go in between being visible and invisible. Okay, so he twists the wheel and the truck crashes. Meanwhile, the loaded plane takes off. Well, the truck crashed. Did he kill this guy too? Okay, I guess he flies from the truck to the plane because we see him flying. So, I guess, anyways, he gets into the plane. Who is pushing these controls forward? Something's wrong. That's a weird statement to say out of the blue. Why would you just suddenly assume that somebody is pushing the controls forward? Couldn't the plane just be malfunctioning? I can't pull them back. I'll crash. Oh, Spirit Man's rather strong. Okay, so the plane crashes into the ocean, and I'm assuming that this guy dies too, because the Spirit Man doesn't seem to have any problem with killing people, as evidence so far. Meanwhile, the hinterland waits. I think that's supposed to say for the loot, but this whole thing, you can look right here in this panel next to the plane crash. There is no space to put for. So it should say, meanwhile, the hinterland waits for the loot. But it says waits the loot. Okay, right there. That's where it should say for, but it says waits the loot. They really should have reviewed this. Of course, it's a backup feature, so I don't think anybody really cared. Can't understand what's delaying them so. Look, off the starboard, and then we see that the Coast Guard did indeed listen to them and shows up. Captain, we can't fire on them. We might sink them and most of the Montgomery Gold Reserve aboard. Don't you have divers? Couldn't you send divers after the gold? I mean, these guys have got guns. Letting them just go like that's kind of dangerous. Just sink the ship and send some divers after it. So I guess he lands on the hinterland, and they're firing at the Coast Guard. She's all primed, Captain. A quick shot from the Raynodyne gun blows up their gun. Now, the Coast Guard didn't know that was going to happen, so it's not like they were just taking precautions. Now, he seems to make himself visible again, and I guess he needs to be visible to touch things in the real world, because when he's invisible, he's just passing through things. So he takes the controls and moves the ship closer to the Coast Guard. Well, no, he says the hinterland's slowing down. Full power ahead. We'll pull up along. We'll pull up alongside. Okay, alongside. Shh. At least that sentence written properly. Okay, as they get aboard the ship, they see that nobody is at the controls, and they go down to the lower decks, and they find the gold and a couple of sailors surrendering. Hey, look! A couple of people Spirit Man left alive! It's amazing! Have we gotten any word yet? Yes. I have word from Captain Shield. He's report that he has captured the hinterland and all the gold on board. What about the plane? Back at the Coast Guard headquarters, everything under control? Yes, Spirit. I've already notified the authorities the location of the plane and truck. Okay. No complaints here. He tells them about the plane and the truck. So, yeah, the truck still had some gold on board because they said they couldn't take it all, and the plane has to go. So, okay, so they actually covered that. I've seen stories where they just let plot threads like that just hang out there. But, okay. How did the Coast Guard know of the hinterland? You told him to tell the Coast Guard of what's going on. Obviously, if he's watching you and paying attention, he would know about the hinterland and tell them. That's a really stupid question. I'm going to read the last two panels right here. How did the Coast Guard know of the hinterland? I located them through the Futurescope and notified the Coast Guard. They didn't seem to believe me, and I wasn't sure they would follow my orders. I'm pretty sure that you didn't order them, that they followed what you were saying. They must have gotten word of the robbery and decided to follow the lead. Now, perhaps they will strengthen the vault with extra alarms. There will be many mystifying clues? C-L-E-W-S. That's not even a word I know how to pronounce. Clues? But no one will know that it was the work of Spirit Man. But I actually have to say the security wasn't bad. The vault was underground, armed with alarms and wires that would electrocute people. These guys were just very well prepared for this. I mean, you can tighten up your security, but if somebody is able to case the joint properly, they'll just go around your security again. They didn't do a bad job. They just didn't contend with Spirit Man. They would have got away with it if it wasn't for him. See the Spirit Man in mysterious action in next issue. It should be in the next issue. Was this proofread at all? But he is not in the next issue. Even though Liv Gleason wouldn't take over till issue 3, he is not in issue 2. I did check. He is not there. So this is his first, last, and only appearance. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned another about Obscure Heroes. I know there's some of you who watch my channel who love when I cover the Obscure Heroes. And this definitely qualifies. Now, next week we're gonna go ahead and do the one that the voice was insisting on. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.